Well, hello, everyone. It is Dr. Brandy B. Dr. Brandy B, come on in. It is Friday, April 22nd, 2022. I'm super late today, y'all. I've been hanging out with some high school students at a career fair at my alma mater. And I tell you, it was super exciting. But we got those students, hopefully, we got them encouraged and we were able to teach them a little something. And so now I am here with you. Come on in, come on in. I see we have 5 people watching. Come on in and let me know that you're here. We are delayed, but we are going to get it done. I am so glad. Let's see, we've got Miss Stephanie Perry. She says hello. We've got Miss Shaquita, Truly Love Three here. She says good afternoon. We've got Belinda Jones says, hi, Dr. Brandy B. My Aunt Eva says, hello, my beautiful niece. Hello, my beautiful Aunt Karen is with us all the way from Albany. She says, hello, cousin. I say, hello. We've got 12 people watching. Come on in and tell us. We've got Miss Ashley Grove. She says, hey, mama is here. Miss Catrice Maddox is here. She says, great day, Dr. Brandy. And Miss Jessica Wallace says, hello, everyone. We've got 17 people that have come on in. Oh my goodness, this must be a good time for you all. Somebody is sneaking and having a late lunch tonight, and we are so excited about it. Come on in, everyone. We are going to talk about, I did not share the name. Let me add the name of what we are talking about today. Let me see. Oops, if I can change it. All right, we are going to talk about today the honest truth about ADHD. The honest truth about ADHD. That's what we're going to talk about today. Added ticker. Let's make it happen. All right, did it go? Yes. There we go. We're focusing on the honest truth about ADHD. Let me just figure out how to share this over here, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. I am not going to keep you all day, but we got to be honest with ourselves, all right? The honest truth about ADHD. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I was with some students at Ramsey this morning, Ramsey High School here in Birmingham, and ended up seeing 2 classmates' kids, which was super cool. I said class of 1996, and I think their ears and eyes perked up. And then I actually saw the sibling of someone that I treat, and that sibling said, thank you so much for treating my sibling. You have made a world of difference in my sibling's life. And oh my goodness, I just kind of had to hold my eyes back from sweating, because that is exactly the thing that y'all know is so important to me. And it's the reason that I do what I do. So I'm Dr. Brandy B, your triple board certified adult psychiatrist, child and adolescent psychiatrist, as well as pediatrician. And through my Facebook live stream, Focus on It Friday, my groups, my when I see patients in there's meetings, when I meet people out in the street, when churches call, when groups call, what I do is help people understand what ADHD is, the importance of mental wellness, right? Because I know that people can shine, our kids and us alike. So what we're going to do is focus on the honest truth about ADHD. And so you all know what ADHD is if you've been following me. But for those who are new, welcome to our show. Let me see who has come in. We've got Lindsay Willis. That's a mom friend. Hello. We've got Miss Dina Stafford is here. She's tagging people. We've got Latroya Williamson Boyce. Thank you. Good afternoon. We've got Miss Dottie Tisdale. We've got Miss Cheryl Dumas. Y'all, thank you all so much for coming. So if you've been hanging out, you know that there are 3 types of ADHD. If you haven't been hanging out, no worries. You're going to know it before you leave today. There are 3 types of ADHD. There is a predominantly inattentive type or presentation. There is a predominantly hyperactive or impulsive presentation. And then there is the combined presentation. Inattentive symptoms. Inattentive symptoms. This means you can't focus, right? So it's attention deficit, meaning there is a deficiency in focusing. Attention deficit, hyperactivity slash hyperactivity. Attention deficit slash hyperactivity disorder. So some people say, oh my goodness, my kid just has the ADD. They don't have ADHD. And if you've been watching me, you know that ADD as a diagnosis no longer exists. Why is that? Because it's all ADHD, and you either have the inattentive presentation predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, or you have the combined symptoms. Now, let's get into what it means to be predominantly inattentive. And we want to be honest, okay, about it. Predominantly inattentive. These are kids who, and adults, who cannot give attention to details. So these may be the people who don't want to read the instructions. Now, some people say all men are like that. I don't know. But they don't want to read the instructions. Too many details. So when you're trying to put that piece of furniture together and it says there's a piece of wood and it says that there's an A and a B and the A goes in the top and the B goes in the bottom. Well, to someone who doesn't pay attention to details, they look at the holes and they look alike and they put the B up instead of down, but the B has a hole across from it that is going to be the recipient of something that was to be screwed in from the other side. Well, now it's up in the air instead of being down. Now we've got a situation. You've got to redo that over again. You got to unscrew it, put it back together. Not paying attention to details. Failing to pay attention when it is expected. Not responding when their name is called. So you may have someone that you've got to call their name 2 or 3 times and scream the last time, and they go, oh, before they will respond to you. Some parents say, I have to scream at them, I have to yell at them. And then they're all jumpy, like, why are you screaming? You could have just said my name. And they say, but I've been calling your name 3 times, right? Failing to respond when addressed. Easily distracted. These are going to be the kids who they are sitting down to do their homework. This is going to be the high executive who is sitting at his desk or her desk. And then the phone rings. Something comes on TV. There's a chirp at the window from a bird. A kid in the other room yells out something. An alarm clock goes off at its regularly scheduled time. And they don't just say, oh, okay, and get back to work. They say, what was that? And ask follow-up questions, get up, walk around, see what it is. Take a long time to get back on track. That's being easily distracted. Now, procrastinating is a tricky one. Procrastination is a key feature of the inattentive type of ADHD. You will see that a lot of parents will say, my kid is lazy. My kid is lazy. I call it the L word because we don't talk about Bruno and we don't talk about lazy. We say that these kids procrastinate. So it'll look like they're lazy. They can't get going. They're vegging out. They're laying on the sofa. They're looking at a pile of clothes that need to be folded and put away, but they're just looking at them, right? And they will let that pile continue to sit there. They will let their taxes continue to be unfiled. They will let that report continue to not get written until it's the last minute. And then they end up doing another symptom of the inattentive type, which is to rush and make careless mistakes. Because there is no way in the world that you could have something due at 8 o'clock in the morning, start working on it at midnight, even though you had 2 weeks, and not make a mistake. Because if they gave you 2 weeks, it might take that length of time. So you're trying to do 2 weeks worth of work in 8 hours, plus go to sleep unless you've slept all day in preparation. So making careless mistakes and rushing, that is another. Now you are going to also find that kids and adults who have ADHD, they are going to be highly disorganized. Now, when I ask parents, I say, oh my goodness, what about their rooms? What about their book bags? What about their purses? What about their thoughts? What about the way that their clothes are on their body? Are they disorganized? And sometimes parents will say, oh my goodness, it looks like a bomb exploded in there. And then sometimes parents will say, well, I thought all kids and teenagers' rooms were messy. Not like what this ADHD room looks like. It's like mounds and mounds of stuff in piles, one big pile. You can't find anything in there. That is disorganization. And if you think about it, their thoughts are as disorganized as their rooms and their book bags are. When we talk about book bags, look at the bottom. Are there balled up pieces of paper crumpled up, the science sheets in the math folder, the math sheets in the social studies folder? Nothing can ever be found that way. So then we get over into the next symptom, which is losing things. These people can't keep up with anything. They lose their keys. They lose their wallets. They lose their glasses. They lose their cell phones. They lose everything. And oh my goodness, there's nothing like the forgetfulness of a person who has ADHD. I forgot, I don't remember, and I don't know are all common answers that amount to forgetfulness. I don't know, I forgot, and I can't remember. And if you're looking at them, a simple shrug will do. That means that they forgot. Now, some parents will say, he doesn't forget where his cell phone is, or he doesn't forget the code, the password to, whatever device or whatever game. And I have to remind you that fascination and concentration are two different things. Fascination and concentration are two completely different things. Let's see what we've got over here. We are tagging people. Thank you, Miss Kawanda Maxwell Smith, for tagging so many posts. Erica says, hello, my beautiful sis, and I say it right back to you. Miss Betty Jeffers says, hello, and I say hi to you. Miss Michelle Davis Dash, my son is down bad with this. Absolutely. ADHD is absolutely a serious situation. Chantrice is in the building. Chantrice says, now wait a minute. I came on and you're in my business. My backpack is a mess. Yes, girl. We get in your business over here, honey. You cannot come over in here without expecting some business to be gotten into. Yes, the book bag is a mess. I can almost diagnose ADHD by just looking at the book bag. And since virtual meetings have been going on, if a parent dare show me a child's room, I just said, woo, it's too much, because I know what is going on when I can see or not be able to see that floor. Chantry says, ooh, the forgetfulness. I can't tell you how many times I run back to the house after I forget something. And so y'all, Chantrice is sharing with us that she is an adult living with ADHD, and she says, by golly, it is still impacting my life. Can you imagine being a high executive, running a Fortune 500 company, running the meeting, and forgetting the one document that everybody is coming to review, forgetting the little, what is it, a zip drive or whatever, key fob, whatever you had it stored on, you forgot it in your office, but you're not in the building where your office is. Can you imagine that? And you're trying to figure out how to get it to where you are so that nobody knows that you forgot it. That's the only reason that you're having the meeting, and you forgot the thing that is to be talked about and discussed at the meeting. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine forgetting to turn in your homework after you stayed up all night to do it because you couldn't focus? So it took you all night to do it. And then the teacher is collecting it and you forget to turn yours in. Can you imagine forgetting to turn in permission slips to go on the field trip? And so when the field trip comes, you don't get to go because you forgot to turn it in. Can you imagine forgetting to turn in an excuse for an absence? And you have so many unexcused absences that the truancy officer is paying your parents a nice visit. Can y'all imagine that? That is what forgetfulness looks like. Forgetfulness is real. Forgetfulness is real. Disorganization is real. Procrastination is real. More people don't get things accomplished to the best of their ability because they procrastinate than just about anything else. Miss Dottie Tisdale says, "This is my kids and my husband in a nutshell." Oh my goodness, Miss Dottie. You've got to get the book, Shine, so you can understand that if we're looking at a child with ADHD, and if we go up, that daddy's got it at a large percent, and the mom likely does too, one or the other. And it's usually going to be a dad. Chantry says, "Yes, Lord, I'm surviving, but treated." So there is hope. There is hope for treatment. Miss Sadie says, "Hello, Dr. Brandy B. I hope you're having a great day. So far, it has been fantastic because I am getting to hang out with you all right now. So thank you for joining." All right, guys. So that tells us a little bit about the inattentive symptoms. Now, let's talk about the hyperactivity and the impulsivity. These are the kids that are talkative. So now, if you've been hanging out with me, you know that girls present later in life and differently from boys. So you know that girls talk a lot. Girls talk a lot in general, but these girls with ADHD, nobody can out-talk them because they are not doing what one of the other symptoms of hyperactivity, impulsivity is, which is running around and acting as if driven by a motor. These boys, y'all, are wild. They are running around. They cannot stop from the time they wake up until the time they go to sleep. They are moving, and oftentimes, even in their sleep, their bodies are still flailing about. Well, the girls don't do that oftentimes. So the girls are just chatty Cathy's. The third grade teacher says, "Mom, she is lovely. We absolutely love having her at school. We can't think of any other place we would want her to be but right here in our class. Her grades are magnificent. She is a joy to have around, but she talks a lot." You got to watch out for that, Mama. You got to watch out for the "but she talks a lot" in third grade. Chantry says, "Chatty, chatty, chatty. There was no stopping my lips." And so if you come from a family like Chantrice and I do, where everybody talks, then you just think, well, that's just what we do in our family. But you got to watch out for that. Keep an eye on it. If your third grade teachers is telling you that that child is talking a lot, you got to keep an eye on it. Got to keep an eye on it. All right. Now, what else is that child going to do? That child is going to talk so much that they can't wait their turn. They're going to blurt. They're going to interrupt. They're not going to say, "Excuse me." And if they say, "Excuse me," they're going to say, "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me." And then they're going to start talking. But what they don't understand is that when you say "excuse me," you got to pause. You got to wait for the person to address you and then ask for you to speak. But they're just going to be excuse me, and keep talking, okay? Oh, my goodness. These are some Chatty and Cathy and Chatty and Cathy. And now some of the boys can talk too much too now, right? But remember, with the girls, it can be different. Dottie is laughing, honey, because you know they are just talking and talking. And oh, Lord, they talking. Hello, Sarah Irma. Thank you for coming on in the building at this hour. We are so glad that you are here. You can see us live today. Miss Irma probably knows about those children being all Chatty Cathy and Chatty. We got to come up with a C name for a guy. But anyway, those kids are talking. They're blurting. They're interrupting. What else are the hyperactive kids doing? They're not staying in their seats. And if they're in their seats, they're adjusting. They're fidgeting. They stand up. They get down. They have to sharpen more pencils, get more tissue, and go to the bathroom more than anybody you've ever met in your life. Cannot stay seated, okay? Fidget, pencils. So if I'm ever interviewing a young lady on the screen, I can't see her hands, I just ask her, "What are your hands doing?" Usually they are either, they've got a hair barrette, a rubber band. They're just pulling it, twisting it. Children, this is why they come up with holes in their pants, in the knees. You thought he was just rough and running around, crawling around, falling down, but no. He is twisting those knees. What else do they do when they're fidgeting? They're chewing on that collar. Chewing on that collar, gnawing it away. So the collar is either hanging low from being wet or it's gnawed on like a little rat got to it. You gotta watch out for that. Gotta watch out for that. What else are they doing when they fidget? They are chewing on everything. Pencils. Chewing on pencils. Bit the eraser off and chewing on it. Or just the metal part, because the eraser's already gone. Just the metal part. What else are they doing when they're fidgeting? They are doodling. Now, doodling can be part fidgeting. It can be part, I'm not paying attention. But if your child comes home with elaborate drawings up and around the edges and the corners, watch out. Watch out for that. Okay, watch out for that. What else are they doing? They're talkative. They are loud. These kids are loud. Oh, my goodness. When they're talking, they're loud. When they are playing, they are loud. When they are walking, they are loud. You're like, oh my goodness, not so loud. Do you ever catch yourself saying, not so loud? You got to watch out for that. What else are they doing? So they're blurting, they're talkative, they're loud, they're interrupting, they can't stay seated. They are acting as if they're driven by a motor. They are starting one activity before completing the other. So, they've got 10 activities started. You adults out there, you started washing the clothes. All right, sorry about that. We went away for a minute. But you adults, you start washing the clothes, washing the dishes, mopping the floor. You tried to mow the carpet and you tried to sweep the grass, and then you decided to that the driveway needed to be pressure washed. The baby needed to be changed, and you got all these things started, and none of them finished. That's how you know you might have something going on, and we got to watch out for that. Do y'all hear me out there? Did I come back on? Did you hear me? Do you hear me? Are y'all still there? Let me know if we're still here. If we are still here, let me know if we are still here, if the connection is good. I think we're good, but let me know if we are good. Okay, we're still here. I lost my internet. The internet wanted to let me prohibit me from being great. The internet did not want y'all to know the honest truth about ADHD, but that's what we got to know. Chantrese says she can hear me. Everybody can hear me. Miss Lindsay, Miss Sadie, Miss Dottie, Miss Erica, Miss Cheryl. All right, so we can hear. So Chantrese said that is me all the way. Chantrese says, wow, J2 has rips in his jeans, and I used to use it as a fashion statement, a distressed jeans. See, you got to make that thing work for you. Miss Michelle Scott Short says, hello, Dr. Brandy B and everyone. Yes, yes, yes. Those jeans, honey, they have holes in them right at the knee. And if you think about it, when you're sitting down and you're resting your arms in your hands are right there at that knee, just the right position to get a hole right there. All right, so they're acting as if they're driven by motor. These are the ing kids, the ing. They're running, singing, dancing, humming. Watch out for the teacher that says this kid is always humming, jumping, bouncing, pacing, walking. All of that. Miss Catrice says, I used to iron patches on my son's pants on the inside. Exactly. Because some of them are rough. But these kids with ADHD, they trying to take out the knees, y'all. They trying to take the knees out of these jeans. They do not want the knees to succeed in life. All right. So we've got inattentive symptoms. Not paying attention, losing things, losing focus, easily distracted, procrastinating, rushing, making careless mistakes, not paying attention to details. Okay. Miss Irma says she has not one now that does that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I did a lot of impulsive whistling. That's right. So hyperactivity and attention symptoms. All the INGs plus talking, being loud, blurting, right? So if you're a teacher and you're like, raise your hand. You got one that's raise your hand. Okay. You got to watch out for the ones that don't raise their hands. The ones that are sharpening pencils that are sharpened. You got to watch out for that. If they are getting tissue and they've already just blown their nose and you can see that there is nothing going on there when they keep going. If they got to use the bathroom and nothing's happening when they go, they get out there and they get lost, right? They get distracted. They start looking around at the lights, okay? That's what you want to watch out for. Now, Michelle Scott Short says, my 18-year-old son still jumps and bounces in private. Yes, they just feel that energy. And here's the deal. So we got the inattentive type, predominantly inattentive presentation, predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, and then the combined presentation. This is what I want y'all to understand. This is why this is the honest truth about ADHD. ADHD does not feel good, y'all. So somebody out there may be saying, well, my kid or I get a lot done because I'm so hyperactive. The truth of the matter is that at some point you want to be able to stop. That level of hyperactivity, that level of lack of focus, that level of your mind moving is good, but for a certain period of time. But the honest truth is that it doesn't feel good. Not being able to stop moving doesn't feel good. Not being able to stop getting in trouble doesn't feel good. This is why these kids emotionally will start to say things like, I can't get things right. I can't do things as well as other people. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. My grades are never going to come up because all they know is that their grades aren't good right now, right? The honest truth about ADHD is that if we continue to allow our kids to not get treatment, their self-esteem can decrease. They could be outcast socially, right? That's the honest truth. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The other kids say, I don't want to be with him because he's too aggressive. Right? The honest truth about ADHD is that teachers and other folks will label your child as bad, will label your child as a bully. Why? Because impulsively, one of the INGs is that these children might just reach out and hit somebody, reach out and touch them. And then you ask them, why'd you do that? I don't know. I thought he was your friend. He is. We're best friends, but you just slapped him. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't even think about it. Just did it. Right? So socially, the honest truth is that ADHD can impact you socially. Stop getting invitations to birthday parties because you're so aggressive. That's the honest truth about ADHD. The honest truth about ADHD is that when these kids grow up, they impulsively run through red lights. And would you not know it? I've never seen this happen with anything but ADHD. I don't know how these trees know it, but these trees know when a child with ADHD is coming by. They know that child is not paying attention, is driving too fast, and is not wearing a seatbelt. These trees know that. So what do these trees do when the child with ADHD is coming? They get together, and I think they phone ahead, and they say, hey, we got an ADHD coming. Those trees jump out into the street. Kids with ADHD hit them. Didn't know they were there. You've been traveling that road for 20 years, 18 years, 16 years, all your life. But you hit that tree because you didn't realize that when that road is wet and it's raining, you try to take that curve at 60 when you really should be taking it at 40, like the sign says, and in the rain, slow it down even a little bit more, then it's going to end up bad for you. So trees do that. So watch out for trees with your adolescent ADHD kiddos. What else is the honest truth about ADHD? Y'all have any honest truths about ADHD? The honest truth is that these kids fail 3rd grade and 5th grade and 7th grade and have trouble in all of them, but particularly those odd number grades. If you've been hanging out with me, you know that, right? The honest truth is that if these kids with ADHD don't get treated, and sometimes even if they do, 33% of them won't finish high school. That's real honest, and that's ugly too, because you got all these dreams and hopes for Kathy and Charlie and Sally and Keisha And all of them, you got hopes and dreams for them. And they're smart, right? Because remember, ADHD does not equal IQ. So these are really smart kids, but they just cannot get it together. They can't focus. They can't focus. And so 33% of them will not finish school. The honest truth is that, and we'll be honest, the honest truth is that only 5 to 10% of kids with ADHD finish college. That's the honest truth. So sometimes when these kids come back home after their first semester or their first year in college, it may not be that they partied too much. It may not be that they were lazy. It may be that they had ADHD. Nobody ever picked it up. And so now they're back. UAB equals you are back. UAB is a fine institution, but they went off with high hopes way up on the east side somewhere, on the west coast, to Tennessee, down to lower Alabama, but they're back. All right. Oh my goodness, Miss Michelle says she's super proud of her son. He graduates next month with a 3.9. Is that from high school or college? Let us know. We like to celebrate folks. Catrice says, what about children that always identify with the emotions sad and angry? So again, for reasons that I said, ADHD, now there is, so okay, that's a great question. So there's a lot of emotionality, mood lability, instability that is associated with ADHD. You particularly will see it in adults. Sometimes adults will present with the emotional stuff without the other stuff that I named. And if you think about it, you're always in trouble. People are always reminding yourself. People are always questioning you about stuff. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you mail that? And you're like, I'm a grown man. I'm a grown woman. Of course I mailed it, but they didn't. So over time that gets frustrating. You always think, why you screaming my name? Well, because you didn't respond. Kids are the same way. So there can be a lot of anger, a lot of irritability associated with ADHD, particularly if ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, is associated with the ADHD. The sadness, though, sometimes you've got kids who are just sad and depressed. Sometimes, though, for reasons I've mentioned, these kids can be sad, feeling like I can't get things right. I can't get my grades up. I know I knew this Monday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night, but I didn't know it Wednesday when we were talking about it in class, and I didn't know it Friday when it was time to talk about it on the test. And that's very frustrating and saddening. So that can be a problem. Absolutely. Chantry says, the honest truth is that we can be brilliant and still feel like we have so much trapped potential. Absolutely. Because you got genius in you. But if genius never gets organized, it never gets to be realized, or at least it sure is difficult for it to be. Absolutely. Chantry says, Lordy, this is so eye-opening. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's what I'm here to do, to help you understand, mom and dad, that the honest truth is that your kid does not have to live with ADHD as if they living with one leg. If your kid's leg got amputated for whatever reason, you would go ahead and get them a prosthesis, or you get them a wheelchair, or you get them a crutch, or whatever it is that they wanted. You would make that happen. And here we have kids who have ADHD, and they are going to school and they are struggling. They are trying to walk with one leg, without crutch, without walker, without a prosthesis. Y'all won't even get them physical therapy. Just say we gonna pray about it. That leg is not growing back. And if it does, come see me first so we can write it up together. I will help you write that up together. So we've got to get the leg, the human being, the whole body, the help that it needs. Remember, some people say, I don't want to be a crutch. But if you got one leg, you need a crutch. Somebody got confused. If you have one leg, a crutch could save your life. Somebody gonna catch that tomorrow when they're at the park riding around. If you have one leg, a crutch could save your life. Personally, I don't look at it as a crutch. I look at it as treatment. I look at it as very viable treatment. I look at it as very safe treatment. I look at it as life-saving treatment. One of the students, I told y'all I was at Ramsey High School today. One of the students said to me, why ADHD? And I said, well, what do you mean? She said, why do you like it so much? And I said, why not ADHD? Of all the things in the world, between being a board-certified pediatrician, a board-certified adult psychiatrist, and a board-certified child and adolescent psychiatrist, of all the things that I treat, ADHD in a month's time, I save a whole family. And if you don't believe that ADHD impacts the whole family, live with it. Have a child with it. Be the adult with it. Have a spouse with it. Have several children with it. Let me go back. The honest truth, this one is real important, is that untreated ADHD leads to substance abuse. But nobody wants to treat their kids because they don't want to get on drugs. Complete opposite. The complete opposite. Let's see who we got. We got my friend Keith Thompson is here. Hey, Brandy. Hello. Mr. Keith, attorney. Miss Lovey Banks. Hello. Thank you for joining. Dina says you're giving a whole sermon today for free. Yes, ma'am, I am. That's what I do. Mama is greeting attorney Keith. Irma says parents are in denial and they don't want to face the truth. And that is why, Miss Irma, we says that this is the honest truth. Somebody somewhere needs to hear this truth. Miss Dottie says, preach. Mama says, good information. Miss Sadie says, she wishes I had been around when she was raising her girls, but your daughters are very lovely. They have figured it out. Miss Dottie says, girl, you are so on point. Miss Michelle says, wow, eye-opener. Arthur Toole, my classmate, he says, wait, did I hear that correctly? Undiagnosed ADHD leads towards substance abuse? Wow. Whoa! Arthur Toole coming on in here asking questions. Well, you have come to the place to learn them. Hold on. Wait a minute. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't tell y'all where you could get all this good information from. Shine Understanding ADHD. This is a commercial break for only $20. We will send this to your house. Yes. Okay. But since the man asked the question, we're not going to do that. We're going to give him the answer. Impulsivity. And I can't give you all the examples, right? I got 20,000 patients, so much reading, so many conferences, so much training. But impulsivity shows up in a lot of different ways. I mentioned driving, basically drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Okay. So let's say a 7th grader. You are allowing your 7th grader to go out and do 7th grade stuff, like hang out with their 7th grade friends. And when they go to their 7th grade friend's house, sometimes their parents may be there, sometimes they may not. You think you're a good parent, so you know that the parents are there. You don't know what the parents do in their free time. More importantly, you don't know what those older siblings do in their free time. Now, that older sibling is there, that uncle is there, that auntie is there, whoever is there, and they say to your child, hey, do you want some of this? Impulsivity creeps in, and they say, ooh, I know that this happened to Uncle Jim, but in that moment, we don't think about what happened to Uncle Jim. We try it. It was okay. We liked it. We try it again. We try it. We try it. We try it. We keep trying it. That didn't do it anymore. Now we try some other stuff. And eventually, research says that these kids with ADHD will find alcohol. What I've seen in my own clinic and practice is that these kids find meth and cocaine. Whew. And let me tell y'all why. This is bonus Focus on it Friday material right here, because I charge y'all to talk about medicines. Those street drugs initially help them focus. So the kids that I've seen who were on meth, and yes, kids, yes, early kids, okay, teenagers, 13, kids, babies, using meth, using heroin, using all kinds of stuff. But they will say, Dr. Rudolph Bolin, I could get my work done initially. I was making A's and B's. But by the time you use it for a very short period of time, you're hooked. And it all started because you were impulsive. And you tried something, and you tried it again, and you got hooked because, yes, marijuana is addictive, but it wasn't doing it for you. Because now you're touring from school, you're hanging out, and you got all the time in the world to do all kinds of stuff, and you find those things. And you end up in a bad situation because you were not treated. You couldn't slow down and realize the first time you were offered that the answer was no. Does that answer your question? Where can you order that? We will give you that. It can be ordered at shineadhdbook.shop. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat right here. I almost couldn't think of it. shineadhdbook.shop. $20. All right, so that should be coming on there. Okay, so yes, that helps. Good. We want to make sure that that is very clear. So a lot of parents will get confused and say, I don't want my kid to be on that because my kid's going to be on drugs. I've had some parents to call and curse me out and say, you gave my kid meth or crack. I mean, parents, come on, let's just think about it. If we're putting people in jail for doing that, and it is highly, I mean, like, just think, like, FDA wouldn't be saying give kids crack and meth. And I wouldn't be in favor of doing it either. But anyway, we're getting way off topic. Let me go back. What else we got? Almost 9 out of 10 of my clients report having ADHD. That's what Miss Erica says. And we learned last week that my sister Erica is a substance abuse expert. That's what she does. And so, y'all, ADHD, I mean, the honest truth is that ADHD is a big deal. That's the honest truth. And if we start treating it, looking at it as a medical condition and not the plague, we would really be better off. We really would be better off. Our kids would be better off. Are y'all still hearing me? I think so. Yeah. Not sure why that's not doing it, but we really would be better off if we looked at it as a medical condition. Much like I look at substance abuse, we don't think about that, but substance abuse is a medical condition, right? So we have it classified as a mental illness, a substance abuse, mental health condition. But it is a medical condition with many relapsing and remitting periods, which means you get better and then you aren't better. You get better and then you aren't better. Let's see. The internet is looking shaky, but we are going to, there we go. All right. What other questions do you all have? The honest truth is simply that ADHD is serious. It is a medical condition. It deserves our respect. It deserves to be treated. However it is that you feel is appropriate to treat your child, right? Arthur Toole says, are some kids being diagnosed with ADHD but really aren't? That was my concern with my youngest. I've gotten him seen by healthcare professionals and received mixed information. So the truth of the matter, the honest truth is that in mental health, so as a pediatrician, I can take your blood, run it, the phlebotomists and the lab folks do what they do. They're going to give me a value. And we all agree that a certain value is necessary for you to not, or to receive a diagnosis of anemia. Everybody agrees on what that value is. It may be slightly different depending upon the labs, but we have that objective data. With any mental health condition, there are these conditions that have to be met. Because the truth of the matter is that I talk a lot. Okay? Several people talk a lot. Right? I come from a talking family, as Shantry said. But does it interfere with your ability to function, to do your job, and to be in a social setting? Any mental illness must impact your thoughts, your behaviors, and to some degree, your emotions. Emotions, thoughts, behaviors. Emotions, thoughts, behaviors. If that thing, whatever is going on with you, is impacting your ability to perform, it's impacting your emotions, it's impacting your behaviors, it's impacting your ability to be social in an appropriate way, then it may be present. Now, what we call it may vary. Some people may look at a person and say that they're bad. Some people may look at a person and say they have ODD. Some people may look at a person and say they have ADHD, right? And then some parents and people still would say they don't have anything wrong. But, you know, for me, and I recognize that I'm a hammer, so most things that I see are going to be a nail. But that is because by the time most people are coming to see me, there is a problem that needs to be solved. People have tried everything else in the book, right? They have tried calendars. They have tried spankings. They have tried other forms of corporal punishment. They've tried tutors. They've tried praying. They've tried attend over the counter. They've ordered stuff off the internet. If you found that you've done all of that stuff and it's not worked, and there may be something going on. The research shows either that actually ADHD is underdiagnosed. Not by me, but in general. It shows that it is underdiagnosed and it is certainly undertreated. Because you got all these adults running around that, whether because they don't have insurance, whether because they weren't diagnosed in adulthood, or whether because there are not enough people like me that understand that because, as my mama said, you have a birthday, ADHD is still not present. So adults are out here struggling, y'all. So I probably, for every 3 to 5 contacts I get about a kid, I get at least one for an adult. And there are many more adults out here who are self-medicating, is what we call it. Trying to get drunk, trying to use a little dab of this and a little dab of that to just make the thought stop, right? So, yeah, somewhere out there may be some kids that are getting diagnosed with it that aren't. But by and large, that is not the case. That is not the case. And I would say if you're getting mixed information, you may want to check with a psychologist, because once they do that standardized psychological testing, that's going to give you your answer. And then you just got to figure out what you do with that. And then that's off label. But yeah. Yep. All right. Is it ever too late to start on ADHD medication? Absolutely not. As long as you're breathing. As long as you have something you need to focus on. Driving requires us to focus. How many times have you gotten over on somebody or went through a red light? Yellow light runners. These are the impulsive folks. End up T-boning folks because you swore you had more time than you did. You were a block away and you saw that light was yellow. You gunned it. Talking about, I thought I had time. Impulsivity. Okay. Ashley Grove says, not a question, but I want to say thank you. Without your help and guidance, my daughter and I would not have the relationship we have now. She made the cheer team at her school yesterday. And if it wasn't for Dr. Brandy B, oh my God. Y'all are too kind to me. Y'all are just so special. I appreciate those kind words about me. But more importantly, I appreciate you for giving your child a chance. Giving your child a chance. Y'all, can you imagine? The honest truth, y'all, is that if you're at the bottom of the pyramid on the cheer team and you look over at somebody passing by and the person up in your hands falls, oh Lord. Okay. Arthur Toole says, thank you. Thank you. I will look for one now. Absolutely. Nikki Klein says, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Do you see adults? Do you see adults? I do. I see the adults on occasion. I gotta find some more time. Anybody selling time? Where do they sell time? Is there a store that sells days of the week? Because I want to purchase some. Send me the link. Let me know. But yeah, I do see some adults, but really my focus is kids. I am going to, when I find the time, when y'all send me the link to this store that sells days of the week, I'm going to do an adult clinic, ADHD only. All right. Although I will tell you, most adults with ADHD got some anxiety tied into it, maybe some depression. So there's hardly anything that's just ADHD when you're talking about adults. Okay. Chantry says, my grandma went crazy that I was zoomed through yellow lights. Girl, just impulsive. Impulsive. Catrice says, if your child is not currently seeing a psychiatrist for medication and they need medication, what would you suggest the parents do until they are able to seek proper medical assistance? So some of the behavioral things that are still important even once medications, if and when medications are started. So go back to my taking the work out of homework presentation, where we talked about having a set routine, doing homework at the same time, getting things out at night to make mornings better, putting the book bag in the car so that you don't forget anything. Having routine. These children and adults do best with routine. For example, at my house, there's a key hook. When you walk in the door, you put your key on the hook. If you don't put your key on the hook, you may not know where your key is when it's time to find it. Reminders, apps. There are all kind of apps on phones. And all of these are good things to do in the meantime and after, and if you decide to choose medications. The other thing is therapy. Therapy for the parents, right? Dealing with a child with ADHD is tough. Dealing with any loved one with ADHD is tough. So make sure that everybody is in therapy. The kid is in therapy. Cam says, hello, auntie. Hello, my sweet nephew. My handsome nephew. He's so handsome. Nikki Klein says, hello, my son recently was on Concerta and now moved to Vyvanse. Who will that medication make him a zombie? I'm so nervous. I haven't started him on him. Now, girl, Nikki, I don't know if you know me. Have you been over here before? I am not a psychic. I'm a psychiatrist. So we can't predict what will happen, but I can tell you this. The goal of medicine is to have a child, an adult, a human being who can get things done, who can complete tasks, but who still maintains their personality, their interests, their dislikes, everything about them. And unfortunately, Miss Nikki, the only way we know is if we try. But I can guarantee you this. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you continue to do that, you're going to continue to get those same results. Now, that much I can guarantee you, but I can't tell you about the Vyvanse and what it might do to him. Give it a whirl. The best thing about the stimulants is that at the end of the day, they're gone. So it's not like if he's a zombie today, he won't be one tomorrow if you don't give it again. Y'all got me talking about medicine over here. Y'all know I charge for that. Chantry says, I had the nerve to say I wasn't impulsive. This life has been so enlightening, right? Yeah, the impulsivity gets people. The impulsivity of ADHD or impulsivity in general gets people into trouble. Hyperactivity gets people hurt. All right. They kind of go together, but if you think about it, I'm running and I run into something. The impulsivity, the words, the actions can have lifelong effects. You jump off something because you're just hyperactive. You might break your arm and it'll heal and you'll move on. You get on drugs because you tried something. You're going to be dealing with that for a lifetime. Nikki Klein says, how can I help my son to keep his room and space clean? I've tried so many ways, but it's like he just has to be in a messy environment. So you want to get some storage containers. You want to label them. You want to remind him to do things every day and not let things build up. My Aunt Pam used to say that you have a place for everything and everything goes in its place. And you've got to have him clean up when his medicine, if he's been treated, is working. Now, y'all know I don't push medicine because that's a parent's choice. But after you do the behavioral stuff, if it doesn't work, you gotta go to the next step. And so you gotta maximize the time that the medicines are working. Therapy is a must around these parts. Absolutely. Nikki says, okay, thank you. Thank you, girl. Just go and give it a whirl. Let me know how it goes. I bet you'll like it. Nikki Klein is an adult with ADHD. I know it sounds cliche, but alarms and schedule works best for me. Yep. Alarms and schedules. Because most kids are going to keep up with their device. So if you set a device on that to remind him, it's time to go to math. It's time to stop math and start studying science. It's time to... And then the other thing is when we're giving out tasks, mom and dad, these kids can't do more than 3 steps at a time without medicine. So if you give them 5, be prepared for probably 4 to not get done. Because they, some kids with the procrastination, adults too, they'll say, well, I just won't even start because I know I won't be able to finish that. So they just may not do any of them. All right. Chantrese says storage bins have been a lifesaver. That and my husband is naturally organized. Living with somebody who's organized is a good thing. I love Ziplocs and storage bags. I have them all everywhere. All right. Now somebody said, how do I know if my child's messy room is ADHD versus them just having a messy room? The answer is simple. If your child does everything else in life that is anti everything I've talked about in this lesson, but he keeps a messy room, he just keeps a messy room. But he's not easily distracted. He doesn't rush. He doesn't procrastinate. He's not talkative. He's not loud. He's not disorganized, not forgetful. Like it's a mess to you in his room, but he knows exactly where everything is. He doesn't lose stuff. He doesn't forget stuff. Then that probably is not ADHD. He's just messy. Like me. If y'all saw the room where I am sitting now, you would say, oh my God. But I know where everything is unless somebody else tries to mess with it. But I keep a calendar and I check boxes and I have a time for everything. Oh, my son is all of the above. Yep. So that's another way, Arthur, if you're still on the call, that you can know if it's ADHD versus, just something else. But I think parents, the honest truth is that when something's off. You know it. You don't have to type it, but you know. You know when something is going on. That's the honest truth. If we're being honest. But if we're not being honest, then we can say, well, maybe not. But if we're being honest, then you know. You know. All right. Anything else we need to be honest about today? I feel like that's enough honesty for one day. Because some of y'all toes got crumpled. And I'm sorry. Now I'm going to have to be a medical doctor for a minute and practice medicine. Not psychiatry medicine, but just general medicine. And pamper these toes that I done stepped on today. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on your toes. I'm sorry. I'm really a nice person. I didn't mean to do that. But it was just in talking to the kids today. Went up to Ramsey, to my high school, talking to the kids. And they just wanted honesty. And I told them, I said, y'all, I'm going to be honest. I don't ever know what I'm going to talk about on my lives from one week to the next. I usually take it from something that has happened that week or that morning. Sometimes my mama tell me to talk about something. But I said, today I'm going to talk about being honest. Because I've been very honest with you all. Except when that boy asked me. He didn't ask the question right. He asked me how much did I make. But he didn't know how to ask it. So I answered his question. I was honest. But bless his little heart, he didn't get the answer he wanted. Because he didn't ask the question right. Which leads to one last point before I go, parents. Make sure you talk to your kids. When I ask about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I hear parents say so often, you never told me that. And I said, did you ask? You got to ask the question. You got to ask the right question. to get the answer that you're looking for. And they want to tell you. They really do. But you got to ask them and you got to talk to them. Is that fair? Is that fair? Arthur is laughing, and Chantry says her toes are beat up. Get y'all some Epsom salt. Get your little basin. Put those feet in there. Let those toes get soaked up a little bit. Trisha King says, so true. I knew something was wrong. You know it. That's the honest truth. Be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. It's not cute. Let's see. One last thing. Chantry says, I feel like you answered what I texted you about just yesterday. Just about 95% of what I was concerned about points back to ADHD. Thank you for your honesty. One last thing. I know I said that the last time. Let me tell y'all this real quick. Okay, so parents will come in. Now, I don't know why, y'all. Parents, I've noticed, are okay. And maybe y'all can help me with this because I help y'all, but y'all can help me. We're running a little bit late. But 22 of y'all are still here. So this is good stuff. Maybe y'all can tell me why parents, you're okay with ADHD, you're okay with anxiety and depression, but you act like ADHD is just a death sentence. Y'all tell me about that in the chat. Or maybe send me a message about why ADHD seems like a harsher diagnosis to you than does anxiety and depression. But let me get back to Chantry. Let me know about that. But Chantry, so this is, I have figured it out. It's kind of sorted out this way. There's anxiety, there's ADHD. Some kids have both anxiety and ADHD. They're going to need to have those things treated individually, or both of them treated. Some kids have ADHD that leads to their anxiety. Okay, so there's kids who have ADHD and anxiety. There are kids that have ADHD that leads to their anxiety. And these are the kids that they study for the test and they got a 57. Now, when they sit down to study again, they can't remember the stuff, but they remember that they got a 57. So they're just a ball of anxiety. Or they sit down and take the test and they're like, oh my God, I can't remember. Okay. These are the kids that have ADHD that leads to their anxiety. And then there are the kids who have hyperactive and impulsive symptoms that most people equate with anxiety. Biting nails, chewing on things, tapping their toes, pacing, walking. Right? So going back to Arthur's question, how do I know if that's anxiety or if that's ADHD? I got to look at everything else. If all a kid is doing is pacing, biting, chewing, rocking, looking scared, but they don't have any of that other inattentive stuff, or they're not talking a lot, they're actually quite quiet, then it may just be anxiety. But a lot of times it's because people don't know, and because for whatever reason, anxiety and depression are more accepted diagnoses, people go with anxiety. We also must not underestimate that what you know as a parent is what you expect of your kid. So if you're an extremely anxious parent, you're going to assume also that those are anxious symptoms. I hope that makes sense. Let me go back up here. Let me see what y'all are saying. A lot of stuff. Oh, I hope y'all ain't attacking me. Let me see. Because I told y'all I'm like Miss Badu. I get sensitive. Let's see. Kawanda says, what's the best way to explain to an 8-year-old that he has been diagnosed with ADHD? Did they ask? Tell me why we're explaining it to them. Tell me what the question is. I feel like there's more to that. And I want to give you the answer that goes with that. Kawanda, tell me more about why we're explaining it to them. I'm not in favor of keeping it from them, but tell me why we're explaining it to them. Miss Sadie says, yes, we know our kids. Chantry says it feels like it's something else being added to the list of things we struggle with. I see. I never knew dyslexia went hand in hand with ADD and ADHD. How is that? Now, Miss Nikki. Now we at the beginning, Miss Nikki said she ain't coming back, y'all. Just ADHD, one of 3 types. Miss Nikki, you need my book? ADHD, one of 3 types. No ADD. It went away. Dyslexia is a reading disorder. Reading disorders and math disorders are both commonly seen in children with ADHD. Okay. So dyslexia, you won't really find it as one of our diagnoses, but you will find it as a reading disorder. And if you think about it, for reading disorders, children who cannot focus, they're getting like every third or fifth word. I just made those numbers up. But they do have processing speed disorders. So somebody who talks as quickly and as fastly as I do, when you're in the class and I'm the teacher, you may only get a portion of what I say. Or you're rushing, right? You're flipping letters, or you were calling words, because remember, reading is comprehension, not just calling the words. So you're calling those words very quickly, and then when the teacher asks you a question about it, you can't reproduce it. This is where your reading disorders come from. Now, this is high level here, Miss Nikki. This is not 100% a rule, but typically your boys have trouble reading, your girls have trouble with math. That's not a 100% rule, but we see that a lot. But the comprehension piece is the piece that is really missing in children who have ADHD. And it's just because they're not focusing. And that switch, Miss Nikki, and everybody else, happens about third grade. K1 and 2, you learn to read. 3 and up, you read to learn. That's a huge difference. It sounds alike, but it's a huge difference. Because K1 and 2, the teacher says, see Jane run. You say, see Jane run. The teacher's like, yay. Third grade, the teacher says, great, Johnny. How was Jane moving? And they have no idea how to answer that question because they were calling words, but they weren't reading. And Shatrice says I hope that, let me know if that helps, Miss Nikki. I ain't trying to be you. I like you, Miss Nikki. But I do want you to go back and check out some of my other lives. They are very, very, very high yield and entertaining because I like that. I think I'm a comedian, I believe. Let me see. Everybody want to be a comedian these days. Chantrice says that her comment was in regards to ADHD and why it feels like a death sentence because it's something else that we have to struggle with. I got you. Arthur Toole says ADHD has been made to seem like your child has a defect that can't be cured. Oh my God. Oh Lord, who's telling these people that? While anxiety, depression is peace is something that is the result of an experience and can be fixed. Ooh, that's high yield right there, Arthur. Ooh, I can tell you with the Ramsey. That's high yield. I like that. Okay. So the truth of the matter is that ADHD probably can't be cured. If I were to really think about it and answer that question, honestly, I think that over time, though, the treatment may vary and the person's ability to cope and live with it vary greatly. So an extremely hyperactive kindergartner has no coping skills to stop that. A 25-year-old who knows and can identify what their challenges are, like say they're disorganized and say that they lose their keys, they can put the skills in place and the things around them in place to live with that and almost seem as if nothing has happened. And depression, I get where you're coming from, but I happen to know that so many people are depressed and they have no reason to be. And if you think about it, look at all the stars that suicide. Now, we don't know what's going on with them and what their experiences have been. But typically what we say is they look like they had it together. When we look at our people that we know personally, nobody saw it coming. Snap out of it. Get over it. That's what we tell people. And it is because we don't see anything. And oftentimes there is nothing that has caused it. But I really can respect your response to that. That helps bring a lot of clarity to something. Because in my mind, I look at it like ADHD is a headache. They got Tylenol. Why you still hurting? Why are you hurting with a headache when there is Tylenol? That's how I look at it. But, to hear that parents are making it seem like, or what parents may be hearing is, even if I take Tylenol, I'm going to get addicted to the Tylenol and then it's not going to help. And that is very much the opposite of what I see. I see it like, let's take this Tylenol and move on with life. Ain't nobody got time for headaches. But I really respect that and I appreciate that perspective. Erica says lack of information of the stigma or the stigma society places on certain mental health issues. Yeah. And so that's why I'm here with y'all on Fridays trying to raise awareness. Okay, let me go back up. I think I missed Author Tool says this is so true. Oh, Chantrese says that to him. Yes. What about the hyper emotionality? Yeah, I just spoke about that. The emotionality, y'all, with ADHD is just out of this world. My husband comes on here and talks about having ADHD. I probably spent the first 2 years of our marriage thinking we ain't gonna make it. Because I don't know what's wrong with this dude. He's so super sweet and then he's explosive. And then, so that was one of the things that was intriguing to me once I started looking at ADHD. And I was like, wait a minute, let me go back. Why he lost that court document? Or why he'll never know what the keys are? Or, okay. The emotionality is the emotional piece. Kawanda says, I think because people think because their kids can focus on video games and cell phones, they should be able to do other things. I'm going to share the terms you used earlier. Fascination is not concentration. Thank you so much for this information. And that I stick with that. Fascination is not concentration. My husband, for example, he is a football fanatic. He loves coaching football. He will stay up all night long and have organized pals. Now, he's a unique individual when it comes to ADHD in general, but these piles of these things that he organizes with the kids' spirit packs and their pictures and it's impressive. But I'm like, register the kids for school. Then we got to make sure it happened, right? But I believe by that. Now, fascination, not concentration. That's in the book now. That's in the book. That's copyrighted information. That is copyrighted information. Yes, but please share. Because that has been, so many people say, you can focus on that cell phone, focus on that math. I'm like, well now. And if you think about it, what's happening with phones and games? Ping pong, poo pow, colors, bright lights, flashing, movement, words just sitting there. They're not going nowhere. They just sitting there. Okay. Kawanda said, I hope I'm saying your name right. They have a new medicine. I still haven't told. Oh. Kawanda, so you want to tell your son because they have a new medicine and I guess they're questioning why they're taking that medicine. What I would do is say, you know how sometimes Miss X, Y, and Z has to tell you to get back in your seat? Or do you know how sometimes when I get onto you and you can't keep your room clean or, you know, all the things that they do, say this just helps you to get back on track with that. It's really no big deal. And then I move on unless they continue to question more. Just give examples because I think a technical definition is going to be too much. They may or may not have heard of ADHD, but certainly their classmates are talking about it. But I think giving them what they know is going on with them and saying, you know how that last medicine helped at first, but then it didn't. We're just helping you to do that so you can get your room clean and make A's again. Don't you like making A's again? Yes, mommy. Okay, good. Moving on. All right. And if you want to get into the crutch, that's a whole nother conversation that most kids don't even care. You know, they're like, hey, I'm making A's. I'm not getting a whipping. Mama's happy. Mama's taking me to Disney World. Hey. Okay. Nikki says she still hasn't told her son that he's 11. Nikki says, I'm coming back. I appreciate your honesty. Absolutely. Yours quite welcome. We're tagging folks. He asked me what the new medicine was for. Yeah. Just say it's, you know, when you, the examples I just gave. Author's laughing. Let's see. Nikki says, okay, my son went for a dyslexia test and the provider came out and told me about the ADHD diagnosis. Child, if they was old, they still talking about ADD. But I just want you to know because you hang out with me. People that hang out with me cannot continue to live in a state of unknowing. unless they just want to. So then you got to preface it with, I learned this on uh, uh, Dr. Brandon B, but I just don't believe she knows what she's talking about. Then that's okay. Okay. But you just can't be hanging out with me and telling people that you heard ADD over here. Okay. That's all right. We just like to have fun over here, girl. I told her I didn't know we were testing for that. And she told me the test automatically goes together. I was just confused. But he did get diagnosed with both. I thought he was just being a boy. Yep, we always think that. And remember what I said. If it causes you social problems, if you can't get your job done, if it changes your behavior, and ADHD changes your behavior, if it changes your thought process, ADHD changes your thought, then it could be something going on. Miss Destiny, I've been missing you, girl. Where you been? Chantry says, yes, I often pray I don't run my poor husband away with the emotions. It's different than hormonal emotions. I mean, it can almost be like rage, y'all. It can be like rage. It's super scary. And it's really hurtful, too. It's really hurtful because you don't know where it came from and you don't know when it's going to come. I call ADHD the, let me get it together. Hold on, let me get it that. It's inconsistently inconsistent. And it's super frustrating for parents because your kid got a 4 on the spelling test, but they knew the words Thursday night, Monday, and Tuesday, but they didn't know them Wednesday and they didn't know them Friday. Can you imagine going to take a standardized test? Which version of you will show up for a standardized test? The version that knows the answers or the version that doesn't? Chantry says, all right, we're back. Sorry about that. Chantry says, Law don't tell on Fred like this. I still haven't re-enrolled my baby. Writes on the to-do list. Yep, you got to re-enroll them. See, put that on the to-do list. Secretly, I take a picture of anything I give that man. Because he going to know where it is. But I know where it is right away. All right. Nikki says, thanks for the education. Absolutely, girl. That's what we're over here for. Catrice says, my son's father did that. He was told by a medical professional that our son no longer has ADHD. I do believe it is important for parents to listen to what is being said opposed to what they want to hear. Absolutely. Absolutely. Miss Nikki, you are so welcome for the education, as are all of you. You know I love y'all. You know I do. I really do. That's why I'm over here with y'all giving out this good education and this free knowledge. But you can purchase my book, Shine, Understanding ADHD So Your Child Can Be a Star. Not just because I want it or because I want you to purchase it, but because sometimes you don't want to listen to a video. Sometimes you want to, now the videos are good, right? But sometimes you want to read it, put a paper clip in it like I have these, right? Those are paper clips. And sometimes you want to come back to it and read it again. And of course, there's more in here than I can tell you in a video. All right. All right, guys. Anything else? Chantry says, thank you so much for the extra time today. You know, I appreciate it. I love being over here with y'all. Y'all are so kind. And y'all are respectful and y'all are engaging because this is my passion. This is what I believe in. So y'all make it worth my time to be here. And I know that kids' lives are being saved. Just like that sibling told me today at Ramsey. They came up to me after. I knew who they were when they walked in, but of course, I could not make myself known to them because of HIPAA. But at the point that they came up to me and they were going to try to find a picture of their sibling to show me, and I said, I know who you are. And they said, you know me? And I said, I knew who you were when you walked in. But they said to me, if it were not for you, and I don't even know if I heard the rest, you know what I'm saying? Because that is the reason that I do what I do. One of the kids said, but what's one of the downfalls of what you do? I said, I care too much. I care too much. So that means that I give extra time. I give extra services because I really do want these kids to shine. And I know that they can. And I know that parents are scared. This is scary as heck Because you've heard so many bad things about these medicines. You've heard so many bad things about bad doctors. I tell people all the time, I'm paid by salary, honey. And when you come see me in my private practice, when you come in, I'm paid regardless of what you do afterwards. So I get my money, and I don't get anything extra if you start medicine, even if you don't come back because somebody wants your spot. So Vicky Bowling, hello. LW Tolliver, great information and insight. Miss Auntie Sadie says, thank you for the valuable information that can help our children and our grandchildren. Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. Chantry said, I would have boo-hoo cried. That is huge for a high school student to recognize the impact. They are not easily impressed. You got that right, honey. You got that right, because the crickets were chirping. And I was like, do y'all hear me? I went to school here. I was where y'all are. And they're like, okay. Sound good. Triple boarded. All right. Michelle Scott Shore says, thank you so much for the kindness and knowledge. You are fantastic. Thank you all. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go eat. If you have questions, I think, let me ask y'all this. What would y'all like to hear or see me do more of? What would you like to hear, or what would you like for me to see? I have in my mind what I think people want and need, but tell me the best way that I can help you all in a group setting, because time is limited. Because I didn't see anybody drop the link for the place that's selling days of the week or hours. So this would have to be in a group setting where we could come together and do something. Let me know what y'all need. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. I love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Continue to comment on the post. I'll come back to it. I'm horrible about coming back and acknowledging y'all, but I acknowledge y'all during the video. I try to. So hopefully y'all can accept my apology on not coming back and hearting and liking all of your comments, because I do try to address them as we go. But I love y'all, and I will see you all next week. Until then. All right, here we go. We'll try this one last time. I'm going to get out of here. I think that is my cue that it is time to go. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm Dr. Brandy B, your triple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live stream, Focus on It Friday, my educational activities, my book, Shine Understanding ADHD So Your Child Can Be a Star, which you can obtain at shineadhdbook.shop. S-H-O-P. Through everything I do, I try to help educate the community, educate parents, make you feel at ease with what it is that is going on, so that you can help your children be successful in the classroom and in life. That is what it is all about. Love y'all. Take care of yourselves, y'all. Don't forget, coronavirus is still here. If you're traveling, do me a favor. In exchange for this free education, put a mask on, because we want you to come back here in one piece. I do love y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.